Our next guest is a very funny comedian and the host of shows like F-Boy Island and Lovers and Liars. Her stand-up special, Someday You'll Die, is streaming now on Max. Let's take a look.
I look at being a mom, and I think it's too hard to be a mom for me. Actually, no, it's not hard to be a mom. It's hard to be a good mom. It's easy to be a bad mom. That's so easy. But to be a good mom is hard. To be a bad mom, that's as easy as being a great dad. That's what that is. Yeah. It's a cakewalk, you know it.
Please welcome back to the show, Nikki Glazer, everybody. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me back.
Well, let's
So good to
get
be here.
started. I want to ask about the Tom Brady roast.
Yeah.
You're absolutely on a night where there were so many funny people.
So many. Yeah.
You had a standout set. What
Thank
is
you.
the feedback been like?
I mean, it's been insane. It's been the best week of my life. Nothing will ever even get close to this, no matter what I do in my career. It's unprecedented that you get this much attention as a comedian for something you do. I think the next time people talk about me as much as if I die tragically. I think that's the only way that my face will be everywhere. Like, I opened my phone and my face was showing up. Like, I was Taylor Swift for a day.
Oh my God!
I really felt that way. I was like,
not
this is
a
what
lot
it's
of people
like.
even get to be Taylor Swift for a day.
I know.
It was a long. I want to ask. So it's a long 3-hour roast.
Yeah.
You go early. You're in the first hour.
Yeah.
Did you know for the second 2 hours how well it had gone?
You know, I was like stealing glances at my cell phone and it was lighting up. Like, the numbers were getting in the hundreds of texts coming in. So I felt like, okay, I nailed it. People are watching this live. I didn't sense how big it was until I think after I left and started looking online and seeing people talking about it. But like, yeah, I obviously knew I had done well, and then you see other performances and you can kind of like base yourself around them. But I think the real thing about this that popped is that it's live, and so usually it's edited. So I usually do that well at roast anyway. I'm not trying to be like, I'm always like, but I do. Like, I work really hard.
Yeah.
And I usually walk away being like, I had one of the best sets of the night, but when they air, it's edited, so everyone looks like they did that well. And so this was the
editing
first,
like levels everybody
yeah,
up.
and I've never been annoyed by it. I've just been like, oh, that's great for the show. But this time it was kind of like obvious, and it was treated because it was like celebrating Tom Brady like an athletic endeavor of like, there has to be a winner.
Yeah.
And so it was a weird thing to walk out of and people being like, you won. I was like, I didn't even know this was a competition, but it is awesome to have won one thing in my life.
I knew, yeah. Give it up.
I hate when people are like, I never win anything. But I really, like, I always was like getting trophies of like most dedicated performer, like most improved. Like, those are always the trophies I got most improved twice in a row, 2 years in a row.
That meant that the first improvement wasn't enough.
Wasn't that good.
You still had enough room to improve more than anyone else.
Yes.
So you mentioned that you did this in the past. So
Yeah.
I think, certainly I had an expectation for how well you would do. Because you know how much work has to go into this.
Yeah.
Did you know much about Tom Brady?
No, I mean, I was really being honest at the roast when I said that I only got into football when Taylor Swift said it was okay, like in the fall. Like, I didn't care about it, and now I genuinely do. I know that people are like, oh, the bandwagon Swifties getting on board, but I care about football in a real way now. Like, I get it now. I wasn't paying attention before, and then the Brady booking happened, and I go, oh, I'm gonna dig it even more. I just watched a ton of his documentaries, and I learned like how to train for something through watching him. And it was early enough in the process that I was like, I'm gonna Tom Brady this roast. Like, I'm gonna be pliable and give myself rest. Usually I'm just like so hardcore and I burn out, and right before the roast I have like a meltdown. This was like, I went in very confident, and I went in with that kind of like 6th-round draft pick, like delusion of I'm the best decision this organization has ever made kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I literally, like, I heard that Tom Brady was gonna kind of make the decision about who gets to be on the dais. And I was telling Robbie at Netflix, who I was talking to, I was like, I want this roast. And he was like, we'll see what happens when we meet with Tom today. And I go, you tell Tom I'm the Tom Brady of roasting.
Wow.
And I did not know what that even meant at that point. I just knew it would get through to him in some way, and I think it did, but then I actually did TB12 it. Like, I really was just like, just work harder than anyone else, and it'll work out, is kind of his method.
It was, it really did pay off. I'm wondering, what have you learned from doing roast? Because one of the things I was noting during your set, because the jokes were vicious.
Yeah.
But you also have this really nice move of apologizing
That's
and
new.
smiling. There's a
That's
lot of
new.
like, I'm so sorry, as if it's not 100% the decision you made.
I know. I'm so glad you're calling me out on that stuff because
But it's great.
But
It like makes it go down smoother.
Thank you. That is something that I realized watching old roast sets, and someone actually commented to me like, "Oh, you're apologizing more." I'm like, "That's because I'm a better person than I was when I started doing these,
Yeah.
and I actually do feel bad." But the thing is, they've asked for it, so I have an excuse of like, "This is the job I'm doing," and I can still at the same time hold this like kind of sorrow and pity over like having to say these words while also saying them.
Yeah.
So I felt like those moments I was able to, for the first time, like inject my real self, which is like, what am I doing? Like, what gives me a right? Like,
I should stress, I didn't think you were sorry at all.
no, I actually was.
You were.
I really was because these are my friends, and like, also I know how it's like to be on the receiving end of it.
Well,
like,
that's a whole nother part of it.
It stings, man. You
Because
can laugh it off, but it gets in, and you think about it later, and it'll make you make appointments at a med spa that you should not be spending $10,000 at. Right after a roast where they compared you to looking like Larry Bird. I was like, I'm gonna fix that.
Yeah.
And I went in and I spent a lot at a place that claimed to do the Kardashians. They do not.
Yeah. All right.
She took
And
a
they
picture
have
there
process
once.
called a debirding, right? But it is like you mentioned that like Tom Brady signs up for it, but all the roasters do as well, right?
Yeah.
Like you know that you can make jokes about your colleagues.
Yes.
And then in turn they're gonna make fun of you.
Yes.
And so I was wondering, I'm like, oh, so for like 2 hours you knew you killed, but also you knew for the next 2 hours pretty much every single comedian to go up would have at least one.
Yes.
And so it just must have been
Say
such a
something.
weird emotional thing to
I'm
juggle.
like, I'm hoping they call me a whore because I know that I am. And
Yeah.
so
You'll feel seen.
Yeah, I'll feel like, okay, they really get who I am. Yeah, call me a whore. I can take that. Say I'm not funny. I just proved that wrong. Like,
Yeah.
But coming from my looks or my age, they told Bill Belichick to date someone his own age, like Nikki Glaser, and I thought that was really funny. I mean, I'm turning 40, which is the age where suddenly like eligible bachelors for you are in their 80s, and it's like not weird. They're like, yeah, he's your age, and you're like, what? Suddenly this world of old men opens up to you. But yeah, so I was worried about the age things because I'm about to turn 40. It's just sensitive, but I felt so detached from being like a sex symbol that night. Like I felt like I was a comedian that night. And sometimes I try to balance both of those, especially on like a big stage like that. So I was like, say what you want about my looks. Like, yes, some of it has stung a little bit later, but I feel like I'm both confident enough in my old age that I can handle the jokes about it. And I thought
Stop saying old age to somebody who just turned 50.
Well,
Just give me a break,
50
all right?
is 40.
You're like, oh, I'm 50
You
or
look
40.
I know there's nothing more annoying than someone younger than you talking about their old
Yeah,
age.
I know,
I'm
and you've been
sorry.
doing it for like a long
That's
whole.
really true. Like, what does that make you then? Really old. Yeah.
I have another question, which I was surprised to hear because, again, it makes me really happy because obviously you have very supportive parents. They were there.
Yeah.
Your parents
Yes.
came.
Oh my God.
And
I fly
again,
them
like,
out to anything fun.
that's great.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
were they?
They're not here tonight, but that's not because this isn't fun.
Right,
I wanted
yeah,
to make
yeah.
us. I was like, if you don't
You're
think
like,
of it,
they're
I
here
don't
at
think
anything fun. I'm like, let's see where. Okay.
They are so excited. They went hard that night and really treated it like my wedding night. Like it kind of was. It's the biggest, most attention I'll ever get. Like, and my mom's just going around being like, wasn't she the best? Saying it to other roasters. Like
Yeah,
it was like really. She went up to Tom Brady. I'm Nikki's mom. Wasn't she great? I'm like, don't make him have to even think about me. He's mad he even had to learn my name. He's gonna forget it before he gets to the car. Like, and then I was just trying to keep them away from people. And my dad, someone was smoking in the Kia Forum, and my dad really hates cigarette smoke. Oh, what is this? He's so offended by it. He like complained about it, and then he later found out it was like we later found out it was Dave Chappelle smoking inside, as he's allowed to do.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, we all know
I think
this.
he has a waiver in any arena.
Yes, anywhere Dave Chappelle is turns to France suddenly. There's no rules, but that was, I later told my dad, and he was like, well, it's still secondhand smoke, lung cancer. I was like, you should be so lucky to get lung cancer from Dave Chappelle. That would be the best kind. But later on, I thought Dave Chappelle came into my green room smoking, and I thought my dad was gonna say something, but he was like, give me a cig. Like, Dave Chappelle's so cool, my dad was like, I'm smoking now.
Yeah, good.
And just,
Good
it was
choice.
amazing, yes.
You have a new special as well, which is fantastic. You wrote a song for the special.
Yes, I did.
Tell us the name of the song.
It's called Someday You'll Die. It's also the name of the special. And I didn't have any money to use to get a cool song for the credits. And I was over budget, spray tans and fake hair and lighting and everything. And
it looks beautiful, by the way. So the money, you can see the money, which is...
They did amazing. It's really, thank you. They'll really appreciate that. But it's a stunning special. But yeah, I was like, and they go, it's going to be like $20,000 of your own pocket to get a song that maybe fits the thing. And and I go, I should just write one. And then they were like, you should. And so I did. And it was my first song I ever wrote. And it's this, people are calling it like the song of the summer.
I think really?
Yeah. I've heard that.
It's called Someday You'll Die.
Someday You'll Die.
The song of the summer.
Yeah, and it's like good to play with your family, like for your families.
I'm glad you mentioned that because this is a video of your niece and nephew.
Yes, they are in on the
they?
song. 2 and just turned 5. My niece just turned 5.
2 and 5, I would guess, is not the right audience for a song called Someday You'll Die.
But they will.
Let's take a look.
Just like we all will.
They do seem to enjoy it. Let's take a look. You know who hates that video? Whoever makes those car seats. They're like, I don't need kids singing Someday You'll Die in our car seats.
That's so good. You're the best.
Congrats on the roast, the special, the song of the summer.
Of the summer. Thank you, Zach.
You guys, that's Nikki Glaser. Someday You'll Die, streaming on Max. Check out her roast on Netflix. We'll be right back with Amor Holes.